So how long should a podcast be?
So that's a really interesting question, the one that comes up a lot. If you look at podcasts that are put out broadly, the sort of full gamut of podcasts, one of the things that strikes you about them is how long they are. They're frequently more than 30 minutes. They're quite often more than an hour. And if you listen to people who regularly listen to podcasts themselves, often they'll say, unless it's at least half an hour, I don't listen. So regular diehard podcasters like long podcasts for a variety of different reasons. They want something that fits into, I don't know, maybe they're in the gym or whatever it is they're doing. It suits them. It suits the way they want to listen and the time that they've got to listen to these things. Other people enjoy it because they say, without the restriction of a time slot, which you might get with a broadcast radio program or a TV program or something like that, the people involved can take the time to explore ideas and develop them, which is all great. In business, my experience is the shorter the better. Well, that's what people initially say, at least. I've had many occasions where people say, okay, well, we want to do this communication and we've got all these things to say, but can we make sure that all the podcasts are no longer than 10 minutes, 5 minutes, really short, because they believe that the people they're communicating to are so time pressured that unless they're really short, they won't listen. And that's okay. You can certainly do some really impactful things with short podcasts. I hope we're proving that with some of the programs we're putting out. But if you've got a really complex issue to explore and you're using podcasting and conversation with leaders via podcasting to explore that, there does come a point where you have to say, okay, well, maybe we do need to give a bit more time to this. Maybe we do need to allow these people to truly explore, not in a sort of verbose, waffly way, but to actually unfold ideas so that people can truly understand them. And that can take time. So how long should a podcast be? Well, the glib answer is as long as it needs to be, but no longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it when we can edit them down and make them truly concise. But sometimes you do have to take time. But as long as when somebody's listening to it, they're not aware of the time, in other words, they don't get bored, then you're probably okay. The killer is when people go to a podcast, it says on the link before you click it how long it's going to be. And the challenge is getting over that barrier where that length is more than 5 minutes. So if someone goes and says, here, your head of department talking about why they've gone down this particular path and her thoughts about why the new way of working that she's introducing or some announcement is important, and it's 25 minutes long, they might think, well, I want to hear what she says, but can't she say it in a shorter amount of time?
Exactly.
So what you have to do, generally have to do, for an organization that is new to podcasting is layer it. So a trick that I've used several times is what you do is you do tasters. So yeah, you have this leader and she talks for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's a teaser. She talks about some of her ideas and she gives them in short form. And then you make the longer interview available as a supplement. And then what happens is that suddenly people will take more time. Middle of the day, this thing pops up, head of department, new announcement, this is what I think, 2-minute podcast. They listen, she says some interesting things, the narrator says, okay, if you want to know more about her thoughts and ideas and hear from other leaders, then go to the webpage and log on. And people do. People who said that they wouldn't listen to something that was more than 5 minutes are suddenly listening to the teaser and then they're going and downloading and making the trouble because they suddenly think, well, maybe it's worth it. Maybe there's something there. So how long should a podcast be? As long as it needs to be, no longer.